You think you're ready? Think again. Because when the power goes out, and I'm not talking a flicker, I mean grid down, no lights, no law, looters don't knock. They kick in, and they don't waste time on junk. They go straight for the 7 things that matter most. Fact: after the 2021 Texas freeze, home invasions rose by 220% in 3 days. In South Africa's 2022 blackout riots, looters looted other looters. And during the 2003 Northeast blackout, over 3,500 stores were hit in under 24 hours, not for TVs, but for fuel, meds, and heat sources. So listen carefully, it's not what you've prepped, it's what they know you have. And if it glows, hums, heats, or feeds, they're coming for it. This is your list, the 7 items looters will look for first in a blackout. If you've got them, you better hide them, because if they're visible, they're gone. And if someone remembers you have them, you're next. Let's get into it. 7. Cold storage and freezer goods. Yes, even when the power's out. You want to see desperation in real time? Go stand outside any apartment complex 36 hours into a blackout. The smell alone will tell you everything you need to know. Rotting meat, spoiled dairy. Once your freezer warms past 40 degrees Fahrenheit, your $300 grocery run becomes biological waste. And that's exactly why smart looters target cold storage first. Because 90% of people don't have backup power, and only a fraction of those have a cold storage plan. In the South African blackouts of 2022, raids on homes often began with freezers, not because they wanted appliances, but because they knew that meat, butter, yeast, and sealed pre-cooked meals could still be edible for a few hours or even a day. In one Johannesburg neighborhood, looters literally used food thermometers to check meat temps before hauling it out. That's how tactical it's become. And don't think your frozen stash is safe just because it's in the basement. If it's still cold and sealed, it's lootable. So here's your strategy. First, switch to off-grid preservation methods before the crisis. That means pressure-canned meats, wax-sealed cheeses, and cold-smoked fish sealed in Mylar. Second, camouflage your cold cache. One method: freeze perishables inside opaque containers labeled tax paperwork or old electronics. If you've got solar, hide the inverter and panels. One glance at a humming cooler will draw a crowd. And for the love of survival, don't rely on a loud gas generator. Use silent battery banks with dedicated inverters tucked in closets, furniture bases, or gutted entertainment centers. Your cold food is only safe if it looks useless. Because the moment your neighbor smells bacon and hears a hum, you just became a deli, and delis get raided first. 6. Prepaid phones and anonymous communications kits. Here's a piece of reality almost no prepper ever talks about. Your smartphone is a liability, not a lifeline. Once the grid goes dark and the towers start blinking out, you'd better believe every traceable signal becomes a breadcrumb trail back to your location. And guess who follows those breadcrumbs? Desperate people, armed people, opportunists with nothing to lose. In the riots following the 2020 Nigerian blackout, hundreds of homes were targeted specifically because phone signals were still active. Looters tracked social media check-ins, WhatsApp status updates, even Google location pings from cached data. Think it can't happen here? In the US, cell triangulation is used by bounty hunters right now using legal third-party apps. So here's your move. Burn your digital ID. That means ditching your main phone the moment the system collapses. Instead, stash prepaid burner phones, SIM card variety packs, Faraday bags, and external battery banks. Never activate the burner near your actual location. Use Wi-Fi spoofing apps and MAC address changers. And above all, don't post, don't text, don't ping unless it's mission critical. Communication should be brief, encrypted, think Signal with self-deleting threads, and always via anonymous networks. And yes, bury these kits. Use waterproof containers inside fake DVD box sets, old VHS cassettes, or stash them in emptied wall sockets behind faceplates. One guy I know hollowed out a surge protector and turned it into a 2-phone vault. Brilliant. Because when looters start searching, they're not looking for what's valuable to you. They're looking for what connects you to anyone else. So the question is, Are you ready to vanish? Digitally? Or are you still playing Candy Crush with a flashlight during collapse hour? 5. Water filters, purifiers, and pre-treated caches. This is where it gets ugly. People will kill for water faster than they will for food. That's not theory, that's human biology. You can last 3 weeks without eating. You'll be dead in 3 days without water. And by hour 36 of a major blackout, municipal pumps stop. Faucets go dry, toilets back up. Now imagine it's summer. You're in Houston, or Phoenix, or Vegas. The entire city is boiling in 110 degrees heat, and water's gone. During the 2021 Texas freeze, some areas saw water boil notices for 12 straight days. People were melting snow in bathtubs just to flush. Now add looters to that equation. You think they're going for your guns? They're going for your Berkey filter, your life straw, your gallon jugs. In Venezuela, entire neighborhoods were raided not for food, but for working faucets. In Libya, truckloads of armed men seized water tanks and resold them for $100 a gallon. So what do? First, bury redundancy. One Sawyer Mini in every bugout bag. Gravity-fed filters buried in waterproof containers. UV pens hidden in sunglasses cases. Cash purification tabs in decoy spice jars. And second, pre-treat everything. That means you bury sealed gallon jugs of treated water in crawl spaces, attic corners, behind wall insulation. One guy I know stashed 30 gallons in a broken chest freezer, sealed and camo taped to look like garbage. Genius. And don't forget the microcache. A few ounces of iodine, bleach, or Aquamira can purify hundreds of gallons. Hide that inside pill bottles, not labeled purifier, but dog medication or ear drops. Because when the taps go dry, the man with the filter becomes a water lord. And water lords don't last long unless they disappear. So ask yourself, when the faucets stop, will you be hydrated or hunted? 4. Cash, coin, and collapse currency. Yes, they're watching for it. You ever wonder why, in every collapse, people don't just raid food and fuel, but safe boxes? Because when systems fail, currency goes primal. It's no longer about credit cards, Venmo, or Apple Pay. It's about what you can hold, carry, and trade. And here's the terrifying part. Looters know exactly what to look for. In Argentina's 2001 economic meltdown, looters hit banks and homes with equal precision. Not looking for gold, but for small bills and silver coinage. Because guess what? In chaos, small denominations are king. You can't barter a $100 bill for bread. You can barter 5 onesies. And in 2024, fewer than 8% of U.S. households report keeping more than $100 in cash on hand. That's not prepping. That's bait. And don't get cocky with your gold stack either. You flash a shiny Krugerrand in a blackout market? You just told a hungry crowd you're worth robbing. So here's what the smart do. Bury small caches. $20 in ones, fives, and quarters. In places you'd forget if you hadn't written it down. Behind breaker panels, inside faux wall outlets, beneath false bottoms in dresser drawers, taped inside old VHS tapes. One guy I know has $300 sealed in a used peanut butter jar at the bottom of his dog's food bin. Brilliant. But don't stop at cash. Collapse currency includes mini liquor bottles, cigarettes, fuel additives, and even allergy meds. After Hurricane Harvey, packs of Benadryl were traded for bottled water. Think like a prisoner. What's small, needed, and universally valuable? That's your bank. And don't just stash it, decentralize it. One bag stolen shouldn't break your barter ability, because in a blackout, money talks louder than guns. And if it's not hidden, it's gone. 3. Rechargeable battery banks and solar charging gear. You can lose light. You can lose refrigeration. But the one thing modern looters refuse to operate without? Power. And not grid power. Portable power. Because when everything else dies, the man with the battery can still communicate, navigate, light his path, and bribe his way to safety. In the 2022 Pakistan blackout, citywide raids hit solar shops before supermarkets. Why? Because people knew that whoever held a functioning battery bank still had a digital edge. Same thing happened in post-quake Haiti. Roving gangs stole portable solar gear to power radios, phones, even rechargeable flashlights. So if you think your Jackery box or solar panel briefcase is safe just because it's hidden in the garage, think again. These are top-tier loot. And here's what most preppers miss. Your battery bank is only as secure as its glow. One LED light in the dark is visible from over half a mile. That's not just a beacon. That's a bullseye. So here's the move. First, bury redundancy. Tiny 3,000 mAh pocket chargers vacuum-sealed and hidden inside toolkits, glove compartments, inside hollowed-out books. Keep panels disguised. Tape up the solar side with "Do Not Use" faulty cell labels. Store them inside trash bags marked "Broken Blinds." I know a guy who wrapped his entire solar briefcase in duct tape and buried it in a wheelbarrow under yard waste. Genius. But it's not just hardware, it's discipline. Strip the LEDs, cover indicator lights, never charge in open sight, and always keep a manual hand crank backup in case all else fails. Because in a blackout, the person who can generate even 1 volt of power becomes a strategic target. Don't be the glowing idiot in the dark. Be the phantom with power. And no trail. 2. Hygiene supplies and sanitation kits. They're not optional, they're survival. Here's the part of collapse no one wants to talk about. Filth kills faster than hunger. You can last 3 weeks without food. You won't last 3 days in a festering, unsanitary environment during a disease outbreak. And guess what looters figured out during the Syrian refugee crisis? It's not just about grabbing food, it's the hygiene kits that go first. Because when the toilets stop flushing and garbage piles up, people don't need ammo. They need wet wipes, tampons, toothpaste, soap, and bleach. After the 2010 Haiti quake, hospitals were overwhelmed not with trauma, but with infections from preventable illnesses caused by poor sanitation. In 2023, the CDC released a report noting that 91% of post-disaster infections were traced to water contamination and lack of personal hygiene. So yes, your baby wipes are high-value loot. So is every bar of soap, stick of deodorant, and sealed bottle of hydrogen peroxide. The rookie mistake? Storing it all in one bin, clearly labeled hygiene. You've just made someone else's shopping easier. Here's what to do instead. Camouflage and spread. Hide soap bars in Mylar and stuff them in winter glove boxes. Tuck tampons inside toolboxes. Store toothpaste tubes inside boxes labeled caulk. One woman I know stores her feminine hygiene stash in a box labeled used socks, untouched for years. You'll also want to keep bleach tablets, not liquid, far lighter, longer shelf life, and safer to cache. Bury them inside vitamin containers or wrap in foil inside your first aid kits. Don't forget nail clippers, tweezers, razors, and toilet paper compressed wipes. Because when things fall apart, the man who smells clean avoids infection and can sanitize a wound. That man doesn't just survive, he thrives. And that's exactly who the looters want to rob first. 1. Heat signature and human presence. You think they can't see you, they can. Let me break a myth that gets too many people killed. Darkness does not equal invisibility. You can kill every light in your house, board every window, crawl into a corner and hold your breath. But if you're giving off heat, they can still see you. And in a blackout, that's all looters are looking for. Because the people worth looting are the ones who are still warm, still alive, still moving. You think I'm being paranoid? Ask the survivors of the Mariupol siege in Ukraine. Russian drones with FLIR, forward-looking infrared, tech weren't just used by military, they were repurposed by looters. They flew them over apartment blocks looking for warm rooms. Anyone still generating heat? That's where the gang broke in. And you don't need military drones. In 2024, thermal scopes are $300 on eBay, and thousands of them are already in civilian hands. During Hurricane Ida, one prepper in Baton Rouge reported being scoped by a neighbor using a borrowed hog-hunting thermal scope just to see who still had heat. That's the world we live in. Here's what you need to do right now. Reduce your thermal visibility. Get Mylar blankets, radiant barrier insulation, and heat shield tarps. Not to warm yourself, but to hide your heat. Create cool rooms with double-lined emergency foil inside closets or basements. One guy I know sleeps in a mylar-lined utility closet under a false floor. His house looks cold even when it's not. If you have a generator or heater, vent it underground, disperse the output, and mask it with cold airflow. And for God's sake, if you're cooking, do it low, slow, and covered. Steam is a thermal flare. Because in the end, it's not your flashlight, not your food, not your supplies, it's your warmth that gets you hunted. And the terrifying truth? The predators already have the gear.